Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Cocktails and Curveballs. With me today, we got Jim, we got Lee, we got Pat. And before we get going, we always want to give a big shout out to our military, past, present, future. Thank you guys for everything that you've done, everything you continue to do. We wouldn't be able to do this today without you guys. Another big shout out to our first responders. Thank you guys for everything you do. So, hey, let's get right into it, fellas. Is anybody drinking anything that they want to let the world know about?
I got one. This one, because this is your neck of the woods, bud. This is from Deschutes. And I bought, you buy those multi-packs that have like 4 different beers in a 12-pack.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one I have never, ever heard of nor seen. It's called Modern Revival IPA. It's a West Coast IPA from Deschutes. This thing, 7%. It's one of the smoother IPAs I've ever had. Deschutes doesn't disappoint, man. So
nice. Is Deschutes Bend? Is that
yes,
out of Bend?
Oregon? Yep.
Yeah, nice. Anybody else drinking anything yummy?
Yes, sir. I've got a bucket of vodka and white gummy bear rain energy drink. Pretty tasty.
Nice.
Figured I'd take it easy on a Sunday. So,
well, yeah, that's taking it easy. Those rains have like 300 milligrams of caffeine in them.
I mean,
So,
I got the vodka.
up or downer there?
To slow it down, though. I got the vodka to slow it down. So it's like
keep the body guessing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Get your heart ticking. Make sure it ticks real well, Pat. You're going to go up with an upper and a downer.
Listen, you got to test it every once in a while, man. I mean, you got to see what you got. So
make sure you're still living. That's right.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of big news, right? Sports are popping right now. NFL draft. We got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Baseball's in full swing. Anybody want to kick us off? First topic tonight?
Yes, sir. I got something I think is really interesting. It's even more interesting to probably me and Mr. Morley because we're in the same division. Listen, the Jets last year weren't horrible, not by any stretch of the imagination. They were, as a matter of fact, you could make a statement that the Jets might have been one good quarterback away from really doing damage in the playoffs last year. I mean, they great defense, good playmakers on the field, really well coached. I didn't like their head coach when he first came out. I thought he had kind of some knucklehead gambles and moves, and I think maybe that was just the rookie jitters of a first-time head coach. But he's got that team humming, and I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Rodgers coming to the Jets, that's going to be a problem. Zach Wilson is a bum. At least he is right now. I don't know how he plays out, or maybe under the expert tutelage of Aaron Rodgers, maybe that changes. But I'm going to tell you something right now. The Jets went from a meh team to now I think they got the attention, and I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on how that's going to affect that roster, because I do think that the Jets are going to be a team to be reckoned with this next season.
Yeah, so they and correct me anybody if I'm wrong here, top 5 defense. I think they finished with the top 5 defense, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. I mean, they have Pro Bowlers up and down that lineup.
Yes, sir.
Up and down the roster, and I think also, it's on an episode that probably nobody will probably ever see, but I believe we picked the Jets to be one of the worst teams last season.
We did.
So, from them being just the typical Jets to now a team that, I mean, we're going to see. They're going to be in primetime games, under the lights, everybody watching. It's New York, it's Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see for sure.
Well, not only that, Ty, the other thing I think that's exciting, if you look at the AFC East, the AFC East, it has got power across the board. Aaron Rodgers technically could be stepping in on the 3rd out of 4 teams, 3rd place roughly of all of the teams in that division. You got Buffalo, Miami.
It's if nothing else, it's arguable.
I mean, but they shocked the shit out of me last year. I'm not gonna lie, man. And I now that they throw Rodgers in there, I mean, he didn't change color. He's still wearing green. So all those, everybody can be whatever happy about that from Green Bay, but I don't know how many years he's going to have, but I like what Salah's done over there. I was questionable a few times also with moves he made early on, but I think he's a good coach. I think his players like to play for him.
Sure.
And that division, man, I mean, how do you win it and get out and get to the Super Bowl?
Sure. Hey, real quick, Jim, before we get to you, I saw something that said they being the Jets, moved some of Aaron Rodgers' money that they owe him to next season. And if he plays next season, he's owed like over $100 million.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
In
You're
just
going to play, right? Like, there's no doubt you're coming back to play for that.
You would think so. I mean, that's the incentive, right? I mean, that's you back end contract that heavily. That just goes to incentive. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to walk away from $100 and whatever million. So my thoughts on the Jets are Saleh is a good he is a good coach. His players love him. We saw that when he was in San Francisco as a D coordinator. But I'm in the immortal words of Mel Kiper Jr. Apparently, the Jets haven't figured out what the draft is all about. They and without really getting into the draft, they had a curveball thrown at them. I think the whole first round, I think everybody had a curveball thrown at them. Okay, I mean, anybody who's seen the movie Draft Day, and people just got off their games. It got weird. There were guys that were picked in the first round that were projected second rounders, late second rounders. And these guys are going top 15.
Jeez.
And
it got weird in a hurry, right?
It got weird.
Texans trading up for that third pick.
That's where
nobody saw that coming.
That's where I saw it happening. Anyway, that's where I saw it too, Ty. I saw when the Texans jumped up and grabbed Will Anderson, it just blew everybody's mind.
Right.
But they gave a king's ransom to move up, though, too. I mean, that cost them a lot. They're gambling hard.
You know what? But what if it all works out? What if C.J. Stroud ends up here 2-3 years? He's a Pro Bowler. Will Anderson could literally be the defensive rookie of the year this year.
And what if it just puts asses in the seats, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Texans have not been good for a while.
No, and that's
not even not good. They've been bad.
That's exactly what they needed. They needed that shock value. But then, so the draft goes along. I mean, we had Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama, great talent. All these guys are great talent, guys. I'm not trying to down it, but is he really a first round? I mean, running backs barely are. Bijan Robinson is generational. That's why he was taken where he was taken. Right. He truly is, I think, generational. Is Jahmyr Gibbs? I doubt it. Okay. Then the Steelers trade up with New England and grab Broderick Jones that the Jets had. And again, the Jets put it out there. This is the guy they wanted, right? This is Broderick Jones. This is the guy they wanted. They needed that they wanted to get that offensive lineman for Aaron Rodgers. You saw these other teams not say a word. They just shut up. They didn't play their hand, nothing. The Jets did, and they got burnt. The Steelers jumped in front of them, got them, and then they went nuts. It was like Will McDonald, the fourth, out of Iowa State, they take.
You know what's crazy about the draft too is how much talent goes. I don't know if unseen is necessarily the word, but guys that slip through the cracks,
right?
That there are so, and it's not just a Tom Brady 1 year and then 20 years later it's the next guy. It's every single year, man. There's so many starters that are picked on the third day of the draft. Maybe not right away starters, but you know what I mean? Right. Guys that work their way into the lineup and they just keep grinding and grinding. And how many Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers, guys that go undrafted? I think that's super, super interesting about the draft is there's, 290 something? Is that how many picks?
It's 250. I think this year it was 259.
259?
Yeah, right around there.
So the 260th player, you know what I mean? The next guy that maybe would have got drafted and it could end up being a Hall of Famer, didn't even get drafted. Right. I think that part of it is super, super interesting.
What really quick, Jim, I hate to interrupt you. One really quick thing on the notes on on the Jets, and I didn't think about it till you brought it up. You said, how the Jets have no idea what the draft is all about. That's a great point. And this is not me banging on the Jets, because I've already said I think they're going to be tough next year. But if you really stop and think about, they spent a top 5 pick on going after Sam Darnold, and 2 years later he was gone. They spent a top 5 pick going over Zach Wilson, who just an absolute. I mean, you can't tell me they don't regret that pick. That guy's just a bum. Maybe he'll turn into something. Right now, he's an absolute bum, especially his attitude. Then they gave up kind of a lot to get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they gave up a lot to bring in Aaron Rodgers. So you look at all those picks, the high ones, and then the treasure trove that they gave Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. How many assets have they used up? I'm trying to bring in a quarterback, and it's not a thing now. If they would have just nailed the Sam Darnold pick, and Sam Darnold might have been their guy. I think that the head coach at Adam Gase had a lot to do with him being where he was. But if they would have just nailed that quarterback pick, look at all these assets. How good would the Jets actually be if they didn't have to spend 3 years worth of draft capital and going after quarterbacks? So you're right. The ability to draft and draft well, that's why Baltimore's been able to stay competitive for 15 years.
What's wild about that too is that now, since it's changed, right? Was it Sam Bradford that was the last big rookie contract when they were still like kind of negotiating contracts as rookies?
So.
Sam Bradford
before it went to just a straight rookie quarter. I think it was Bradford was the last.
So now swinging and missing on quarterbacks isn't quite as big of a deal. I mean, right? Don't get me wrong. It's a bad play in the top 10 or first round, whatever, to swing and miss on a quarterback.
Right.
But with the rookie contracts being the way that they are, like the Jets moving on from Sam Darnold after 2 seasons, 3 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, with bananas.
Like they just kind of wash their hands and go, hell, we'll go after the next one.
Yeah, it's not the old days. It's not the old days where they were signing a $150 million contract and never been on the field. Right. So I think that actually helps the league. And I think you're right. I think these guys, you can lock them up for 5 years, man. My quarterback Tua is locked up for 5 years. We just picked up his extension. We got 2 more years of his contract.
Franchise tag and plus get franchise tag him again. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot on the back end, but I mean, potentially you got a guy for 7 years.
Right.
That isn't gonna make the number one money in the league.
Right. And it doesn't hurt near as bad.
Let's get away from the draft a little bit. Right. Does anybody else got anything that really burning in their brain they want to get going on?
I got something that I want to bring up. I brought this up a little bit earlier. You know how we had our conversation about the atrociousness of the umpiring in Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah, and it has not got any better since we talked.
Not one bit.
And I don't think it's going to, even though their jobs are on the line and they know it, and they're still egregious. But right now, man, watching the NHL hockey playoffs, the finals, Stanley Cup championship games, all of that, these guys have to be in such good shape. These linesmen, these they have to be skating just right along with these players.
Lee, and real quick, just for maybe some people that are listening that don't follow hockey a ton, how many officials are there on the ice in a hockey game? There's 3?
Three.
It's a lot of ground to cover for 3 guys.
And that puck moves,
hockey is.
That puck in the game moves so fast. These guys are constantly skating, so these guys have to be in stellar shape. I mean, you're not some of these guys, 80 pounds overweight sitting behind home plate calling balls and strikes.
Sure.
They can't move fast enough to see it. But I mean, some of the hits, man, I mean, it scares me a little bit because there is no way that there could ever be digital help there. But there's some hits that were questionable, some calls that get missed, and it makes me, as obviously an Avalanche fan, it makes me worried a little bit when Cale Makar, hard hit to the boards, gets suspended for a game. And then a game later, Jordan Eberle completely destroys Cogliano into the boards, neck first, fractures a bone in his neck in this play, and no call, no suspension. And it's hard to watch because you understand that these guys have to see so much because it moves so quick. But I don't know what the answer is, man. But watching these finals, it is insane. And I think everybody should be watching them. It's that good.
How
So-
hard would it be for I'm assuming here 4 guys that aren't that good on ice skates to be tracking a puck in, right? To catch it on your stick and keep your eyes up. These guys are monsters. These NHL guys are monsters.
Yeah.
And they're flying around the ice.
Yeah.
How
Big
tough?
dudes.
I mean, no average people say hitting a major league pitcher, right? One of the hardest things in sports. How about keeping your eyes up in a hockey game?
Yeah.
For just the average for Joe Schmo.
Right.
Holy
No, it's
shit.
and a lot of these hockey players now are basically middle linebackers with skates strapped to their feet. I mean, big dudes, man. I mean, guys that if they weren't hockey players, they could be playing the D line for most NFL football teams. I had a question, Lee. That's a great point. I never honestly thought of that concept you just brought up, that how good a shape these judges have to be on ice, because you're right, they got to be, in order to catch every place, their fitness, their physique depends on them being in shape enough to keep up with the puck and the action. That being said, we all know that in baseball there's what you call like a I don't even know what the official name is, but it's like an explanation report after the game. Kind of shows you the accuracy level on home plate umpires calling balls and strikes. And you can actually see, and there's these home plate umpires that are constantly on the bottom of the league. Angel Martinez is one of them. Always got a low accuracy
Joe West.
score. Yeah, he's horrible. He's just horrible. And oftentimes when there's a really bad call in a baseball game, sometimes you get an explanation from the umpires association or whatever on what they saw or whether it's borderline. Do you know, is there ever like that play you're talking about where one guy gets absolutely just destroyed on the boards and nothing to see here? Does the league ever address that? I mean, is there ever any kind of explanation? Or
they don't do any that kind of stuff is a Major League Baseball thing. They don't really do that in hockey that I know of. I do know that egregious hits like that, if they get missed in a game, the NHL it could be a game a day later, review it. And basically what they do is they call it what it is. They suspend a player and fine them. So they could take away a game. And I'm shocked that Jordan Eberle is going to take the ice tonight. And he's a scrappy player, man. I'm not saying that he did any of this on purpose, but he should have got a suspension, and he better have his head on a swivel because there's going to be some Avalanche players looking for him near the boards.
of course.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
big time.
when you break the neck, a bone in the neck of one of your best players,
Some of
he
that though,
better
right?
be
Like
aware.
that's this series between the Avalanche and the Kraken has been an absolute banger. It's been, I mean, you can't touch the puck without somebody hitting you. I don't know that was necessarily like an egregious hit. I think it's just a guy that's trying to be physical. It was, I know exactly the play you're talking about. It's a little bit late, right? I mean, kind of just bad luck.
Well, bare
Oh,
minimum,
oh
it
boy,
should have been a
his head
penalty.
Farther,
But
yeah,
should have been a call on it though.
yeah. Right. But I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of saying, like, it wasn't necessarily like a dirty hit. It wasn't super, super late. It's just a physical series.
Right.
In my opinion. So, you know what? It's funny that you brought up the officiating there, Lee, because there was something that I was thinking about, and it stemmed from watching an NHL game and seeing one of their referees or umpires, whatever they're called, getting hit with a puck.
Oh yeah.
And I started thinking, what sports league or just sport in general has the toughest officials? Baseball, like behind the plate, right? Those guys get smoked here and there with a pitch. A pitch that breaks way out in front of the plate that a catcher doesn't get. Like said, NHL, they get hit in the crossfire sometimes with the puck.
I'd say
NBA is
by-
NBA.
Or by some
NFL
of them,
guys.
or by some of them monsters we're talking about skating. They do.
Yeah.
They try to get out of the way, but They do. They get hit by the players too. I'm gonna go
real quick, rapid fire.
I'm gonna go football. I'm gonna go football.
Football officiators, okay? Officials. Lee?
I got to go NHL, man, because some of these pucks flying over 100 miles an hour, solid. I've hold them. I mean, these things would hurt anybody. I don't care how much gear you got, and they don't have as much as the players.
Yeah, I don't think they wear hardly anything.
And the NHL players, they don't. Their shift is less than a minute. These guys are on for the entire game. I got to go with NHL, guys.
Yeah. Pat, what are you thinking?
I got to go MMA. I mean,
No.
just the fact that they're, the officiator in the middle of an octagon tells me they're probably interested in the sport, and they probably train. And to double down on that, I've seen a lot of officials that point to each. I'm thinking, I think this guy should maybe suit up and big dudes, man. So I feel like MMA, man, some of those guys probably could step in the octagon.
Oh yeah. No, that's good. I didn't even think MMA. But yeah, and some of those guys too, when they go to call a match, and they dive in there. Some of those guys, I've seen videos of some of those guys getting choked and punched. And
well, okay, how about Joe Rogan? Have you seen Joe Rogan kick a bag?
This dude is it's terrifying.
And this terrifying. Oh my God, that dude kicks a bag, and if you're holding the bag, he'd knock the wind out of you. I mean, yeah.
If you were talking shit to Joe Rogan in the middle of the street, and he did, and for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, go ahead, get online, get on YouTube, and after you watch a Cocktail and Curveball episode, watch Joe Rogan throw a spinning back kick. He would kick your intestines out your asshole.
You're pretty sure that's true.
Dude, it's terrifying. Like Joe Rogan knows what he's doing.
How does that saying go? Let me see if I can fuck around and find out or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Find out. I feel like it's fuck around and find out.
Oh yeah. The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out.
That's right. That's true.
What's up, Rogan? What else is on the hot seat here? Anybody got anything that they're dying to talk about?
I think my Cardinals are about 2 seconds away from having a fire sale, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's too early in the season. It's not happening.
They're 10-19. Are you out of your fucking mind?
I have watched your damn Cardinals consistently.
10-19
makes no difference
19.
every year. Every freaking year they come back and they're always there.
It's because they play at Busch Stadium. Anheuser-Busch is going through some shit right now.
Wait a second now. Let's put this into perspective. Just to win 90 games, which to be fair is only the wild card. We're not talking a division title. Just to win 90 games, they'll have to go 80-49 the rest of the season. You have any idea what kind of fucking run that is? That's like Bronx Bomber type shit. Yeah. Enjoy your team, Zoliak. Thanks for flying United. And fucking whoever wants Goldschmidt and Otto, make us a good offer, and he's all yours. That's how that shit's gonna go in 2 weeks.
Hey, speaking of the NL East, and I don't know that this team played in the NL East back then. The Atlanta Braves in the 90s, early 2000s. I was trying to explain it to Jessica. There's a Morgan Wallen song. He came out with a song called The 98 Braves. And so I was trying to explain to her the significance of just how good the Braves were during that era. Did they win that division 13 years in a row? I didn't look it up, but is that sound right?
I thought it was
right
12.
in there.
Yeah, 12.
It's something like that. It's a crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. But did they only get one World Series out of that? Am I right?
Yeah. I think they only won one.
If they should have won, I mean, Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox. I mean, you had 3 Cy Young pitchers in the playoffs. How's this team getting beat?
Steve Avery was your number 4.
Avery, who would be an ace on most staff.
Every other team pretty much back then.
And Chipper Jones was, I mean, those guys, they scored so many runs, and how they didn't win like 7 World Series blows me away.
They should have.
Because they were that good.
Did you guys see where Chipper Jones just got interviewed the other day? Saying that in today's MLB, he'd only hit 200. Bullshit.
I don't buy it.
Bullshit.
That's a little too humble, huh?
That's too humble. I mean, come on, man.
And he had a great swing. He had really fast bat speed. plate coverage, a ball that, I mean, he's one of those guys that had such a quick bat. If he had to foul a pitch off to see another one, he's one of those guys that could do it. Him, Ken Griffey Jr., Will Clark, same thing, man. I mean, if it was an, oh, shit, this is a strike, he had the bat speed to foul it off to get another pitch. He was one of those guys.
You know what's something else that blew me away that I just saw recently? Greg Maddux won 18 Gold Gloves.
That's right. The
Wow.
most.
Are
The
you
most in
fucking
baseball.
kidding me?
The
In the
most
NL
is
the whole time?
the most in baseball history. It's not
Yeah,
Brooks
throwing-
Koepka.
Yeah, man. Get
It's
out
Greg
of here.
Maddux.
Yeah, throwing 87 miles an hour. How slow is that changeup that he's throwing? Jesus.
Insane,
That guy can hit,
right?
you know, the most-
18?
The most underrated guy on that Braves team, and nobody ever talks about him, but I believe he just got inducted into Hall of Fame, and that's Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones.
The guy,
I
was,
remember
the
him.
guy was a
I mean,
stud.
how many Gold Gloves did he win? He had to
Yeah.
have been up around 10.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I mean, that might
Wait,
be.
Andrew-
Maybe that's too many.
Andrew Jones came from the American League to the Atlanta. Didn't he play was it Cleveland? I thought
man,
Andrew
I can't
Jones
remember.
He was a Brave for a long time.
yeah,
I thought he played for somebody and then came over to Atlanta. I might be mistaken, but you're right, Andrew. As far as the plate, he wasn't horrible, and he had actually some really good years. But in the field, outside of maybe Jim Edmonds,
Yeah.
maybe Kenny Law. I mean, I don't know. I don't know of any other.
you got Griffey too. I mean,
Griffey,
Griffey,
yeah.
okay, but they moved Griffey to right later in his years, did they not? I thought they
No.
moved him to right. He always played center.
yeah,
Oh, okay. So, well, yeah, okay. But Griffey, Edmonds, Andrew Jones, that was cream of the crop right there in the outfield, man. Those guys catch
And maybe
anything.
that was it too, because I was trying to think. And if anybody's watching this, they want to fact check me on this. Did Andrew Jones not win damn near 10 Gold Gloves out in center?
I think he did.
I think he
I
won
mean,
more than 10.
Yeah,
think he
maybe.
won more than
Yeah,
10.
maybe more than 10. And I was
Yeah.
trying to think. How did Jim Edmonds not get one during that same time? Griffey was in the AL for most of that.
Yeah,
But you got somebody in center field like Andrew Jones. You got Greg Maddux on the mound that 18 of them,
Yeah.
he was a lock before the season. So my God,
yeah.
18 Gold Gloves to go
Yeah,
along with his pitching resume.
Yeah.
18 Gold Gloves.
Atlanta was stacked. They were stacked during
You know-
that generation. It's really, I think it's even more impressive that they only won one ring. How did that happen? I mean,
And their manager's name was super cool.
super cool.
It's Bobby Cox.
Yeah,
For anybody that doesn't know, his name's Bobby Cox.
Yeah. Did anybody?
we decided to let that one out. Good call. He was
did
a
anybody-
great coach.
Did anybody ever get ejected more than Bobby? That guy.
No, not even a little bit.
Earl
Not
Weaver.
even a little bit.
Earl Weaver.
Earl Weaver.
Earl
You know
Weaver.
who didn't get ejected as much as I thought was Lou Piniella.
Lou Piniella. He's kind of fiery too, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think he got booted a bunch, but I don't think he's even in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking the old days. You're looking at like Billy Martin, Earl Weaver. Earl Weaver was a goddamn animal.
Who
Hey,
was that?
if you're let's say hypothetically here, each one of us is managing an MLB team. What's the one word? And you don't have to say it. You can give us just a reference at it. What's the one word that you would say to an umpire to get you kicked out of the game? If you wanted to turn it in early, maybe you got an off day the next day, you want to make it a day and a half. What do you call an umpire to leave the field?
It's the sea sucker word.
Sea sucker.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Did you just call me a cocksucker? You goddamn right, I just called you a cocksucker. You're out of
That
here.
I think that is an unwritten rule of baseball. I think that is the word. I think that's the word. Like legit. Like you do that, bye, gone.
Yeah. If you're actively trying to get kicked out of the game, you call Blue a sea sucker.
That's right.
Yeah. Are you that or just a steaming pile of horse shit? That's what you are. You're a steaming
Yeah.
pile of worthless horse shit.
Mhm.
Take a bow, you piece of shit, you fat Oh yeah, I mean, I'm getting thrown out immediately. Yeah,
Yeah, we're about to get thrown off this podcast.
yeah, I mean, probably. Okay. Yeah, I got some shit to take care of. That's fine.
No, that's good. Keep them coming.
Yeah, that's right. You know. Yeah.
Uncensored, unfiltered, baby.
Hey, who was that Minnesota manager? Was it Gardenhire? Rod Gardenhire. Is that his name?
Well, he
Old
was
Minnesota manager. I think it was Gardenhire. The only reason I thought of that is I don't know if you guys remember this. He had a quote that I always remember. We're talking about April baseball. Some his team just got taken out to the woodshed after during a game 12-3, just got romped, and it was early in the season. And a reporter stuck a microphone in his face at a news conference, and he said, "You know what?" They asked him about how the season's going, and it's still early and all that other stuff. And he says, I'll be honest with you. I've never won any pennants in April, but I've lost a whole hell of a lot of them. Now think about that, okay? So you can sit there and talk all you want to about it's early. It's early. A lot of baseball. Cool. But you know what? You dig yourself too deep of a hole, man. There's a lot of teams that have lost the pennant before May even hits the calendar. So I just always remember that, man. You know what? Yeah, you don't win any pennants in April, but you play bad enough, man. You'll play yourself out of one.
well in the NL is stacked. You're
It is.
looking at the Braves, Padres, the Dodgers aren't bad. The Phillies. I mean, the NL is stacked. It's starting out 10-19. They're gonna have to play 750 ball the rest of the way.
Well, look at the Pirates. Jesus, did anybody be honest? Be honest. Did anybody
Hell
see
no.
what they're doing?
No.
Good
And
Lord.
and anybody outside of Pittsburgh that said they saw this coming is a goddamn liar.
No,
Anybody
they're-
in Pittsburgh that says they saw this coming is a goddamn liar. The Pirates have been terrible. Have been
Anybody says the
20
Pirates,
at least since they lost Barry Bonds.
if
the Pirates have
anybody
been bad.
says, if anybody says they had the goods on Pittsburgh doing this, liar, pants for hire, man.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Oh, so that's a good saying. And I was just thinking the other day, what are some sayings that don't even make sense? And I'll give you guys some time to think about this one real quick, and I'll explain the one that doesn't make sense to me. If you say you're going to tell somebody that you're going to leave them high and dry, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good thing.
If I said, "Oh yeah, I got left high and dry," that's a good thing, right?
Like,
Right?
yeah,
It's a fun thing, if nothing else.
Like, you gotta be stoked about that.
If somebody was gonna really fuck me over, they'd leave me low and wet.
Yeah. I feel like that's true.
Right?
Hey,
Like
I
that's one that that doesn't even make sense.
I got one that, I mean, people take it all the time, but I don't know that it's good, bad, or indifferent. Fubar. I mean, now that came from a movie way back in the day, but effed up beyond all recognition. Depends on what state of mind you're in, if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, a lot of times that could be a good thing. Like, have that day where I don't want to remember, and you get, is it good or bad? Fubar? I don't know. I've been there a lot.
I don't know.
On that.
It's 2023, and I still take a gander. And I don't give a shit what people think. I think that's a good, solid American fucking word, man. Gander. Let's go down to the lake and take a gander. I mean, hey, if it's a good, solid term, it doesn't make you old. It just means you're talking sensible. That's all I'm saying. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with it is what it is. I don't know. I think my issue with it is it's just so overused.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but are there not some? And I agree with you 100%. That's a phrase that is so played out. But are there not situations where there's no other way to describe it?
Every single one of us has used it. Come on now. It is overplayed.
I still say it, and I would kick my own ass if I could when I say it. But my vocabulary is so slim, and I know so few words and so few terms and phrases that's honestly the only way that I can describe things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, but you're never going to hear somebody say, "Well, it is what it ain't." I mean, you're never gonna hear Sammy say that, right? It is what it ain't. So it's got to be. It is what it is. Just general vocabulary. Okay.
Sometimes our podcasts are a little bit like that. People watch it, you're like, is it good? I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's accurate.
Or
I'm good as long as they're talking
It
about it. I'm
is-
good as long as they're
It,
talking.
it isn't what it ain't,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I feel-
it definitely isn't what
I
it
feel
ain't.
like we're educated here, so there's that.
Mother trucker, it is what it is. Okay, let's just leave it at that.
Fair.
Right on. Does anybody got something they want to get in real quick before we wrap this bad boy up? We got another. We got a few more minutes. We got a few more minutes.
Hendon Hooker, 3rd round.
Could potentially be a steal.
Could be starting his rookie year. I'm trying to remember.
Well, his ACL is still all bummed up, but
yeah, 3rd round. What a deal.
Hey,
There you go.
here's a fair question. Do you think if Aaron Rodgers, do you think if Miami wasn't playing in a division with Aaron Rodgers and
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, you think if that wasn't the case, that they wouldn't have went out and drafted a decent high upside cornerback to go along with frickin' Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey? I mean, no, I didn't see that. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I thought our secondary was pretty much stacked, especially with our young safety, who's probably going to make Pro Bowl next year, Holland. They go out and pick a cornerback. You're just going to step right over the shit show on the offensive line that you guys got. I mean, that's good. I guess.
There's definitely teams that do that, though. Like the Niners, they invest year after year, it seems like, on their defensive line, and they're dominant. I think it's one of those things. It's like, do you draft one offensive lineman in the Dolphins case and make them a little bit better, or do you draft a DB and make them dominant? Also, on that note, I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about the Jets. Did you guys watch the draft? Did you guys see the first round at all?
Yep.
I
Did
missed
you guys-
a bunch of it.
Did anybody see the kid that came up and announced the Jets' first draft pick?
Sure did.
Holy shit, he crushed. He did a phenomenal job. A young kid. I don't think it was a Make-A-Wish thing. I don't really know why he was up there. But he killed it. This kid, he lit it up in Kansas City. It was awesome.
Hey,
That's
really
cool. I
quick,
missed it.
and I'm only bringing this up because you brought it back up, Ty. But let's all take a minute to reminisce that Coach Sala saying, "I'm keeping all the receipts." He said it a couple times last season. Everybody was banging on the Jets. Me and Lee. I mean, a lot of my people I run with, I've heard him several times talking about Jets. I mean, who wants to play for the Jets? Jets this, Jets that. Jets couldn't sell. I mean, they just, Jets have been the whooping post for a lot of people for a lot of years.
Oh yeah.
And Sala came out last year and said, "I'm keeping all the receipts." Just remember that. I'm keeping it. So I feel like Jets are primed to do a little something this next year. Will they? I don't know, but man, Aaron Rodgers, he can't hurt. So it'll be interesting to see how the team
no.
comes together.
And that team's so young, man. The Jets are so young.
They are
A guy
big
like
time.
that with Aaron Rodgers coming in lights a fire. I bet still that now a team that plays with confidence is dangerous, and a
Yes,
team
sir.
that's good and plays with confidence now that they think, well, Aaron Rodgers, if nothing else, he's not Zach Wilson and he's not Mike White. That's dangerous. That's a scary team week in and week out.
Yeah, let me go back to what Pat said about, drafting that cornerback. Here's the thing. We can't – any team that has spent that much money on their cornerbacks, you have to be thinking in the future, man. You have to be thinking about, I can get this kid on a rookie deal, 5 years, because can I keep X? Can I keep Jalen, or which one do I keep? So I think it's just a smart move, and I think some of the best GMs are doing that. I think a lot of people thought Miami was crazy to go cornerback because of what you said, but I think they went best available, and they know for a fact they can't keep paying all of that. Eventually, these salaries, they hit too hard, man, and you got to pay more players.
Yeah.
So I think that was a smart move, and that's what makes good GMs.
How about just learning under two guys like that? I mean, learning from Jalen Ramsey and Xavier, and I'm not saying I was upset. I didn't. Did you see it coming? I did. I didn't see him picking a quarterback first pick.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd go anywhere. Well, I didn't think we'd go to the 7th round to draft a lineman either. I figured we'd take a shot. But
are you happy with the Pittsburgh draft there, Jim?
Well, I couldn't be happier. They addressed everything I thought that they needed. They didn't get ahead of themselves on Joey Porter Jr.
Cousin Joey.
Cousin Joey, that's right.
Yes, sir.
And you know, they took that Broderick Jones, who he was going to be a top 15 guy. He's a definite first round tackle. But yeah, no, and then they got that huge tight end from Georgia, Darnell Washington.
6'7"? Is he 6?
Oh, yeah.
And have you guys seen the video of him versus the other tight ends at the combine pushing the sled? If you haven't seen it, search that. The video of that Georgia tight end pushing the sled, and they compare him to the other tight ends in his group pushing the sled. Guy's a monster.
Is he like 270 or something? I mean, he's way up.
He's huge.
He's a big dude. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was ecstatic. This is one of the best drafts Pittsburgh's had in a long time.
That bums me out.
I think you're going to see
so too.
That quarterback too. I think that quarterback's going to take some monumental steps this next season too.
Can he pick his nose? Can he pick his nose?
Yep. I think he's going to be good. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I think Pickett's going to be great. And I think what the Steelers did is it's setting him up to make him even better. I think he's going to make monumental steps this year. I really do. I liked him when he played in college. I thought he was great, and I think he's only getting better. Now, what about the Ravens there, T? I mean, they spent a little money, right? I heard.
Oh, boy. Ooh. Yeah, them boys, they spent some money. That Zay Flowers they got in the first round as a receiver. I don't know, man. It's super, super hard. I think that the way that the Ravens traditionally draft, it's not always by need. I think they typically try to, the way that they scout and the way that they evaluate players and stuff like that, I think they're looking for the best value, like for the majority of their picks. So it's hard because, I mean, cornerback is an obvious need. Their offensive line is an obvious need. They just signed OBJ, so I didn't know that, receiver was necessarily going to – and it's a one-year deal with Beckham Jr.
He'll be in the slot, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. And don't get me wrong, I love the NFL draft. I love it. It's a time for anybody who's a football fan to have hope. No matter what their team did the year before or what their team has done 10 years before or whatever, there's hope. There's hope that you just got the steal of the draft, that you just got the next Hall of Fame player.
Tyler,
there's so much optimism in the draft.
Where's the draft next year? It was Kansas City this year. Where's it next year? Does anybody know?
Is it Vegas?
It might be. I don't know, but I think we should find out.
I thought it was something like Carolina. I thought maybe he was in Carolina next year. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Whatever it is, I feel like we should probably find out and plan a trip to record a podcast from the draft.
It looked so fun. Did you guys see Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes?
I know.
Them boys have been drinking.
Oh, you think? No.
Dude, those guys are on an absolute celebrity tour right now.
So
did you guys see Travis Kelce throw out the first pitch at the Guardians game?
Yeah, I see.
Holy shit! How drunk was he?
How many beers?
Holy shit!
I think that big dude puts away. I bet you that dude drinks. It's 3 a.m. Everybody else is passed out, and he's still pounding them. I envision,
light beers. I bet Travis Kelce could drink 30 light beers, fairly easy.
Like before 10 or what?
Yeah, like before it gets dark outside.
Like when they stop selling beer at the ball game, he's already got 30 in it, probably.
Yeah.
The 7th inning, he's already got like 28.
The 7th inning, he's getting ready to leave because they closed the beer stands down.
Yeah, right.
He's on to the next one.
Well, unless you're VIP, which I'm guessing he is, being a starting tight end for the Super Bowl champions will do that. I feel like he's got the inside hookups. It's like, yeah, but you're Travis Kelce, so just keep the fuckers coming. I mean, probably like that. So, kind of like the treatment Lee gets whenever he goes to a ball game.
Hey.
Well, all right, fellas. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one. We ran through a lot of topics there. There's a lot of moving parts in that episode, but a lot of good shit. Yeah.
Yes,
is
sir.
there anybody got any sign-offs, anything they want to say before we get out here today?
I do. Drew Maggi, 33
That's a made-up name.
rookie. 33-year-old rookie. 13 years in the minors, and he's up in the big team. Big congratulations, kid.
That's first hit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just the other
First
day.
hit, first RBI, the whole deal.
Yep.
You know what? I want to give a big shout out to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who are 20-5 on like a $22 salary. That's fucking amazing. I mean, in a league where you got the Bostons and the Mets, the Mets with like $300-500 million salaries. Here's Tampa Bay bringing their lunch money and going 20-5 in the first month of baseball. Jesus, how many of these guys are going to be, signed after when they finally come up due for their new contract? How many of these guys are going to be wearing pinstripes for playing in Boston because Tampa Bay ain't going to fucking pay them? I mean, good for these guys, man. $50 million salary for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and they're crushing it. Well done. Golf clap.
That was a golf clap.
Yeah.
I gotta give my one curtain call to it. It's a player on my team, Andrew Cogliano, who got knocked out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Got a broken fracture in his neck. Hit was what it was. I'm not going to get into it, but here's to him, man, because anytime these guys, I've seen some hard hits in that league, and I've seen some players get really hurt. You talking a fracture in your neck, man, that's pretty severe. So, Andrew Cogliano, cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers, man. Yeah. Quick, I want to give a shout out to a guy that Lee, this one might hurt a little bit. Jared Kelenic, a guy that was written off the last few years. He was a top 5 prospect and had been sent down in 2021, got sent back down off the big club in 2022, and the Mariners stuck with him. It's early. Anything can happen the rest of the season, the rest of this guy's career. But holy shit, this guy is on a tear. If you don't know about Jared Kelenic, man, look what he's doing this season. He is so far heads and above anybody that's swinging bats on the Mariners right now. It's incredible.
Cheers to that. And that's one of those saying, heads and above. We could have brought that up.
That's a saying that I might have just made up. I don't think I said that right. I'm almost positive I didn't. Well, all right, guys. Hey, anybody that sees this, comment, leave us some likes, subscribe on our YouTube page. It's all Cocktails and Curveballs. It's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, Julian Martinez, thank you, dude. You've been hitting us up a lot. One, thank you. You've been hitting us up a lot. You've been sharing and liking. We appreciate it all, man. We appreciate it. And let us know. Let us know how we're doing.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Cheers.
Thanks for this.